So by now, I would expect you to be well on your way to writing the essay. And hopefully by the end of this week, you can send me a rough draft of what you've done. Today's lesson is really just a general lesson on conventions in writing a history essay, okay? So let's go and talk about what we have to do. So this is going to be about the actual essay itself and how to write it. There are conventions in writing history. Generally, we write in past tense. You avoid generalizations. We use paraphrases more than quotes. Use formal language. And then I'm going to talk also about basic formatting conventions. Convention is a tradition, basically. Most of these conventions apply for all academic essays that you write. But these ones are particularly for history, and before you start using them in your other essays, check with your teacher. So history happened in the past, so usually we write in past tense. It's mostly past tense in the essays. So that's just common sense. Okay, use past simple, past perfect, past continuous verb forms. We also try to avoid generalizations. So try not to say things like some people say or it is believed. Historians like things to be specific, so be definite. So you would say Smith says. If you want to say some historians think, you would say some historians, for example, Smith thinks, okay? So be specific, don't generalize. It's much better to paraphrase in an essay rather than to quote long quotes. Don't do long quotes. Paraphrasing is better because it shows that you can read and understand what you've read, and it shows that you have an ability to read something, interpret it, and put it into your own words. It also contributes more towards the word count, okay, so than quoting large amounts of text. So it is always far better to paraphrase rather than quote. When writing an academic essay, it's important to use formal language. Part of this is don't use abbreviations. So for example, if you want to use World War II, don't put WW2 the first time. Put World War II, and then in brackets next to it you put WW2. Then you can use WW2 throughout the rest of the essay. It's the same with any abbreviations. TV, don't put TV, put television, and then in brackets TV. So then you can use TV for the second time you want to use the word. That applies for all essays. Avoid using contractions unless you're quoting. So a contraction is like don't, do not. Don't use don't, use do not. Now in history, we don't use first person pronouns, so we don't say I think, you think, we think, they think. Well, you can use they think. Don't use first person. Don't use I think. It's just not academic in history. Unless you are quoting, and then you can use I think, but only if you're quoting directly from a book. Now, the convention is for numbers under 100, you actually spell them out. So for 30, you don't put 30, you put THIRTY. For numbers over 100, you can write the number. So 101 is 101. Okay, when you're putting dates, you use the format 24 June 1900, like that, just as it's there. You use single quotation marks, not double quotation marks when you're quoting. And be careful of apostrophes. Remember, its coat does not have an apostrophe. Okay, formatting is very important, and one of the marking criteria looks specifically at formatting of your essay, and it's worth about 5 marks. So in general, we do a double or 1.5 space between lines. Use a font like Times New Roman. Check spelling with spell check and with your eyes, because spell check is sometimes nasty. Insert page numbers at the bottom of the essay and make sure your name is on the essay, please, because otherwise I don't know whose essay it is. And let me just repeat, academic presentation is worth 5 marks in this essay. Formatting is important. Make sure you get those 5 marks.